Hey guys, welcome back to Purgatory. Queerbaiting is an epidemic, truly. It is manipulation, it is homophobia, it is harmful, it ruins lives, it contributes to the decline in queer mental health, and it's mostly used incorrectly. It has always been used incorrectly, but there's like a new wave of misuse of the word that's completely wiping out the gravity and the actual meaning of said word. Why is this important though? Language changes over time, doesn't it? As we grow and change as humans, of course it does. It always has, and it will continue to do so forever, throughout the ages, as long as humans exist. And the point really is still the same, isn't it? No, it is not the same. And queerbaiting actually matters a lot if you care about queer people and their mental health. Queerbaiting is not something that can happen in real life. That's not what that means. That's actively taking away from what it means, actually. So if this word and term is so important, then what does it really mean? Queerbaiting is a marketing technique involving intentional homoeroticism and suggestions of LGBTQ themes intended to draw in an LGBTQ plus audience, without explicit inclusion of openly LGBTQ plus relationships, characters, or people. The point of queerbaiting is to give representation without actually giving it, to draw in the queer audience and pretend that they're actually giving representation without actually making it gay or queer so that they don't get in trouble and so they don't have to do it since it's so icky. Essentially just getting brownie points for something they didn't even do. Its whole premise is manipulation of queer people through media of fictional characters. Now moving on to the most popular question, or what should be the most popular question that you guys aren't asking but you really should be. Why can real people not queerbait? Well, by definition, it is a marketing technique for media with fictional characters. It is meant to paint a character as queer without calling them or making them queer at all. It's really just up to interpretation. It's whatever the viewer wants it. If you want them to be gay, if you want them to be queer, then they are. But we're not going to actually say they are. People are not fictional characters. People change, and no one can manipulate you into thinking that they're queer. If you assume that someone is without them saying it, then that's on you and you only. They are an entire human, and we know that stereotypes are ridiculous and that you don't have to act or dress or talk a certain way to actually be queer. So no, Harry Styles dressing in feminine jewelry and clothing as well as acting feminine is not queerbaiting. It's literally just a person dressing and acting how they think looks and feels good. Just because you assign stereotypes to how certain people and genders act doesn't mean that if they act in that one way that you assign them, that means that they are the thing that you put onto them. I thought we were supposed to be encouraging men to dress and act more feminine if that's what they want, while being cishet. You are accusing real people with real feelings and emotions, people who change over time, of queerbaiting because of forced gender stereotypes. And now onto the video that made me film this in the first place.
Is he gay or what?
He's not gay in real life.
Stop casting straight people as queer characters, you pieces of
No, I seem to not want non-queer people to act in queer roles because it harms queer actors. And yet you then in turn hurt real queer actors by bullying them because you are upset that they played a gay character and didn't come out to the entire world as either straight or gay, hurting them so much that they were then forced to out themselves online for safety. Later on in Spencer's video, it's even said.
And most of us don't ever find someone until we're way older, and you want to know why? Because we're too scared to come out because of bitches like you killing us.
So are you just saying that you want people to come out when they're not emotionally, physically, mentally ready so that they can be cast as queer characters and put their lives in danger just so you can have a silly, goofy time in front of the TV? Because if you only cast the currently out people in Hollywood right now, you're not going to have many people. And you'll be preventing queer people from getting to the point where they're either comfortable enough in themselves to come out or realizing that they're even queer to begin with. People have this weird idea that everyday people can't affect celebrities, and that's because celebrities are dehumanized. Because we don't see them in person, because they're seen as so much more important than the average person, to the point of having security guards and being secluded from society. Because we put them on this pedestal of being better than the average human, celebrities are dehumanized and deified. They're treated as something precious, something to be treasured and protected from the rest of the world. Someone so important that they deserve to be paid more just because a lot of people like them, that people are assigned entire jobs dedicated to stalking them and taking hundreds of thousands of pictures of them at red carpets that are literally just dedicated to praising them for existing. They're put up as higher than everyone else, and then they're expected to see things differently, act differently, feel things differently, for the singular reason that a lot of people like them. A lot of people like them, therefore they get more attention, therefore they get more money, therefore they get obsessors, therefore they are better than us. If you had a fan account of someone talking about how much you're attracted to them, how much you love them, how much you love their every microscopic move, every hand twitch, every blink, you would be labeled a dangerous and obsessed person. You would be eligible for legal trouble. People will be warned about you. But since a lot of people like this person, because they get so much media attention because of how many people like this person, because the amount of people that like them, it's okay. You can say absolutely abhorrent and disgusting things about them that would get you in legal trouble and labeled as a freak if you were to do it to anyone else. Between stan culture and our dehumanization of them, our parasocial relationships with celebrities are next level unhealthy. This leads us to believe things like we have no power to affect them, as if they aren't literal normal humans in no way different than us, as if we weren't the ones that got them to where they are now. They're literally this famous and popular because a lot of people liked them, because the fans liked them. What do you mean you can't affect celebrities? You're the one that made them a celebrity. This leads us to do things like bullying celebrities into coming out into the danger of both their own mental health and others' anger, of discussing their sexualities and calling said sexualities inconsistent, as if they aren't ever-changing, flexible, fluid human beings. A person who always stays the same is no person at all. You act as if because a lot of people like them, they owe you a single thing in the world. You get shocked when they say something bad or harmful, as if there aren't thousands of celebrities out there, and as if celebrities aren't just human. Why would their beliefs be any different than yours? Actually, if you want to go down that route, wouldn't their beliefs be worse than ours? Since we put them on such high pedestals above us to look at that they have to look down upon us? Between saying nonsense like calling someone semi-bisexual because they aren't actively fucking the same sex in front of you, and calling yourself a gayler because you are trying to prove that someone is gay by saying that they've already come out quietly, and shouldn't you as a gay person know that you don't have to say I'm gay in order to be gay? People are scarily delusional when it comes to celebrities, and it's because they see them as other. And that is your weakness, because they are not. For some reason, that's a really hard truth for y'all to swallow. Celebrities are not characters. They are humans, alive and the exact same as you. This specifically is genuinely the most chronically online take I've ever seen in my life. Saying that someone has to either date or fuck both men and women to prove that they're bi is literally homophobic and biphobic rhetoric. Someone missed the point of Heartstopper. And prove it to who, and why do they have to prove it at all? Isn't that like literally against the point of the community? Queerbaiting is impossible in real life, so there's that. And guess what? Any celebrity coming out could be a PR move by your logic. I guess no one popular can ever come out then. So which is it? Do they have to be out so that they can be cast as a queer character, or are they not allowed to come out because it could be a PR move? And if Kit did enter a public relationship with a man, would you be satisfied, or would you call that PR too? You claim to be doing this for your community, and yet you turn on and hurt your own community in the process. Being queer is not safe. Being queer is openly dangerous. And you just force a queer person to come out in the name of protecting your community by actively putting your community in danger. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a flaw in your logic here. You want queer people represented by actual queer people. I get that, and I feel the same way. However, in an unfair world, there isn't always an answer. Because you vehemently demanding that only queer people can play queer characters either forces someone to come out and put themselves in danger, or is just blatantly saying that you can only play a character that is like you if you want to come out and put yourself in danger. Is that really the answer to you? Well, that's not even to mention that if someone's sexuality isn't already easy to find, that you can't legally ask them about their sexuality for work. Because that's illegal. For safety purposes. To protect queer people, it is illegal to ask about someone's sexuality for work so that they can't get discriminated against in the workplace or fired for being queer. It's like, do you want the community to be happy, protected, and safe or not? Yes, this is a very frustrating and stressful situation, one that has very much and clearly affected me, as I've openly talked about. But let's maybe not harass and bully the actors who are just doing their job by acting, especially when they very likely well could be queer, and we're hurting them. But the people who casted them without perhaps looking into already existing out and queer actors. Or even better, the thing that you should be aiming your frustrations and bullying and harassment at, homophobia and homophobic people. Because that's the root of it all. People who are homophobic. Do you really want to, in the fight for representation for queer people, hurt queer people because you weren't focused on the actual real issue? Then there's the case of people using the term queerbaiting in the correct circumstance, but not in the correct way. People often like to call situations queerbaiting where they really aren't. I think the frustration, to put it lightly, of the lack of representation and homophobia everywhere that's also actively denied as being homophobia really gets to queer people, especially young queer people. And that is what leads to the large phenomenon known as shipping. Shipping and queerbaiting go hand in hand. Except for where they don't. Shipping is when you pair one fictional character with another in a romantic sense because you like the idea of them being together for whatever reason. Mostly queer people do this because 1, the lack of actual representation, and 2, queerbaiting. 2 of the largest known examples of queerbaiting is Merthyr and John Locke. In BBC Sherlock, there are references in almost every episode to them being together. People always assume they're together, they tease them about it, they straight up say that they are a couple and treat them like it. And not to mention that Sherlock is known for correcting everyone on the slightest thing that they get wrong, and yet stays silent every single time someone treats them or speaks to them as if they're a couple. In the dinner scene in the first episode, John asks if Sherlock has a girlfriend, to which he says,
Girlfriend? No, not really my area.
leading John to awkwardly ask if he has a boyfriend and assures him that it's fine if he's gay. Sherlock says that he knows it's fine. John asks if he has a boyfriend again, and this time, Sherlock's answer is just no. To which John reacts,
Right, okay. You're unattached, like me. Fine. Good.
there is no reason to include a scene like this if you aren't alluding to a relationship happening later on. And that also isn't mentioning that Mark Gatiss, one of the runners of the show, is openly gay and still denies there being any kind of romantic relationship between the two. With Merthyr, they are literally canonically soulmates and also canonically born for each other. They have an incredibly genuine and astonishingly deep relationship where they trust each other more than anyone in their lives, even right after meeting each other. They start off as being sort of enemies due to Arthur being a bully and Merlin always standing up for the bullied and those in need. But as the show goes on, they sacrifice their lives for each other, immediately and without hesitation. And over time, they always want to be around each other. They better each other as people. They are always there for each other, and they have the most beautiful and meaningful relationship that I have ever seen. That you might be able to call romantic or whatever if it weren't for the most eye contact and glances to each other's lips done in any show ever created. To top this off, in the last episode, gigantic spoiler warning, skip to this time to skip the biggest spoiler in the literal entire show. I'll give you 3 seconds. Arthur dies and Merlin says that he won't leave him while he's attempting to carry him, to which Arthur just responds,
Just hold me. Please.
and then proceeds to thank Merlin for the kingdom he helped him build. This entire scene is heartbreakingly romantic in the worst way. I'd have to explain the entire thing. And then when Arthur truly dies, Merlin lays his head to Arthur's and cries. In the very end of the last episode, we see that thousands of years later, in our then current time of 2012, Merlin was immortal and still waiting till this day for Arthur to come back as he was told that Arthur would eventually. There is a video where some of the cast and such were doing commentary reactions to this episode, in which this was said.
We did very genuinely think of the episode as a love story between two men.
I suppose you
Which is
can't.
what I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, jokes aside and innuendo aside, I remember talking to Justin and saying that's what it's about.
But you can't deny that Merlin and Arthur do love each other.
No,
You know,
absolutely.
on whatever love way you want to think that, there is no denying.
And I think it's a purer love than you say had for your sister. No, I
Oh,
think
we
they do.
won't.
I think it is a love story. Absolutely is a love story.
I can't believe you put that in.
Well, I think it's, he's dying and the man he loves is dying, so he's holding him.
I don't think that's what you meant at all when you
No,
put that
it is.
line.
It is. So it is. Shattering everyone's myths about the show in one commentary.
I think, I don't know if they shouted them. I think you maybe just confirmed what a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
And yet he not only then couldn't call them gay and let them be canonically in love, even if they didn't end up together, but even in the commentary he couldn't say it. No one could, even when they agreed. This is a blatant slap in the face to gay and queer people, and it leads to radical behavior such as shipping people who have no chemistry and trying to bring queerbaiting into real life. Because they are fed up with the lack of representation, the mocking, the teasing, and the insults, and they use that frustration and anger to do and say things like this. This is why queer people lose their minds and genuinely don't know how to feel or act when actual representation is given to them. And even then, they feel a very, very deep fear that something awful will happen to the couple, or that the show will get canceled, or something, because queer people are never given anything, and when they are, there always ends up being a problem. Queerbaiting is not when you have a ship that is queer and then it doesn't become canon. At all. However, what you will come to see is that the majority of people who are saying that that is the definition of queerbaiting and fighting about queerbaiting to begin with is cishet white women. This is because of the sexualization of queer men and how straight women realize that fanfiction exists and that MLM fetishization exists and went wild. And this is why you'll often find straight women, mostly white, writing the most queer content usually about men. This is an entire different issue and video though. It makes complete sense why queer people specifically are upset at the thought of non-queer people playing a character who is, and why they feel like queerbaiting is a thing that can happen in real life. But it hurts people. Your people. The people that you are fighting for. It is not appropriate, it is harmful, it is selfish, and we need to come up with a better solution to this problem, because this isn't it. We can get lost on our journey of activism and justice and equality when the people of this world are so cruel and unfair and downright abhorrent, especially to the marginalized. But let's not forget why we're doing this in the first place. And let's check in with ourselves and our friends and our family and our community to make sure that we have our heads on right. That we remember what we're doing and why we're doing it, and that we can put our prides aside to let ourselves be wrong so that we can learn how to be right. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, as it's quite an important one and a very needed one. But my throat is sore. I have drank no water today, and I want to call a friend to watch Sherlock to, you guessed it, be gay. And happy Pride Month, because Pride Month is every month. Unfortunately, I cannot find my hat, so I will have to use something else. It's genuinely gone. Like, I don't know where it went. It disappeared. I want you guys to know that my windows are completely open. All around me, all my windows are open. It's completely pitch black outside, and I have a light shining on my face. Everyone can see me, and everyone's staring at me. It's definitely fun. How funny would it be if someone who watched this video, like, watched me film it? That'd be funny. And kind of creepy. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. That's really cool of you. Make sure to give a like, or subscribe, or turn the bell on. I've never said that before, and I feel stupid. Or even better, leave a comment and I'll probably like it or respond. Because all I do is be on my phone. So if you want a response, leave a comment. Do remember to be a good person and not a bad one, because it is the one rule. And remember that I will not see you, but you will see me next time, of course. I got this at Target for $3. Just saying. Oh god, I can't put this on my head while this person's watching. Is it right around the corner? Okay, I hate my life. It's fine. I feel like an idiot. Probably because I am.